Welcome back, y'all. I'm your host, Misha, better known as the Beauty Mogul Goddess, and this is Lips and Lace Podcast. Today's guest is a walking testimony that survival isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. From San Francisco streets to earning her master's degree, from single mom to homeowner, from pain to published, Tisha Williams is the embodiment of soft life after the struggle. She's a behavioral health clinician, an EMDR certified healer, and the author of the self-published book, Survivor Turned Provider. Her story isn't just about bouncing back, it's about rising up. Sis didn't just survive, she built the legacy. Let's get into the soul-filling conversation on healing, hustling, and choosing softness after survival. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the beautiful Tisha Williams. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here with us today. So let's start at the beginning. What was the hardest part of your survivor journey, and what kept you from giving up on yourself?
I would say the hardest part was the lack of support in the beginning.
Okay.
Not a lot of support, and what got me through, I would say, is the hope to be able to provide and not to have to worry about anything, being able to provide for my children in ways that I can only think or imagine, and my faith.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yes.
Faith is huge, right?
Yes.
Because faith without work, though.
Yes, it's dead.
You know what I mean? So
it's dead.
I definitely feel you when you saying that motivation, right? Because being a mom, right, you automatically got to be a hustler, right?
Yes.
If we don't get out there and we don't get it, them babies ain't going to eat.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that being one of a huge catalyst.
Yes.
And what kept you going.
Yes.
Well, thank you. So you talked about not just surviving, but becoming a provider. What does the shift mean to you now as a social worker, as a therapist, and as a mom?
It is a huge responsibility, and I stand tall in it, and it means the world to be able to provide to a community that I grew up in.
Okay. This episode of Lips and Lace Podcast is proudly sponsored by True Goddess Beauty Supply Store, where we strive to bring out the inner goddess in you. Whether it's a protective style or some self-care essentials, here at True Goddess Beauty Supply Store, we're here with you for every step of your glow up. Tap the link below and shop with us online, or come in store and we'll get you right. True Goddess Beauty Supply. And you mentioned that, right? So you mentioned being able to give back to the community that you came from. So tell us a little bit about that. So you grew up, born and raised, right? Bay Area, San Francisco, California to be exact, right? So what was that even like growing up in San Francisco?
So I actually grew up a little bit of everywhere in the city. We were here, there, and everywhere. Like, literally, growing up in the city was a struggle for me. My mom was struggling with addiction, and you know what the 80s did to a lot of Black families.
Definitely.
So we were in transitional homes, we lived in projects, we were in hotels, motels, shelters,
right?
Until she got stable, and it was an eye opener. Like, I saw a lot growing up in the city, and watching her struggle the way she did, I just knew that if I ever had kids, that I was not.
But that couldn't be you, huh?
Yeah, it was not. I had to break generational curses, and I would do any and everything to be able to provide,
right?
Have a roof over my house, over my head,
right?
And like stable housing. So
got you.
That growing up in San Francisco
was something else, huh?
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up
in teacher though.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up in San Francisco, but I did grow up in the Bay Area. So just the Bay Area in general is just a really, you know, you really get it out the mud kind of area, right? Like you definitely gotta have your smarts about you, whether, you know, you gotta have that combination, right? You gotta have the book smarts, you gotta have the street smarts, you gotta know how to adapt. And like you said, growing up in the 80s, you know, we all know, you know, when crack hit the scene and, you know, those drugs hit the scene in the inner city, like it took it by storm.
Yeah.
And so you yourself said, you know, that your mother was a person who, you know, fell victim to that. And through that, you know, that was where your survival story began. But just like you said, knowing that you wanted better for you and yourself and for you and the family that you were going to create was really, like you said, that motivation that you need to know that this ain't going to be my story.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
So in your book, Survivor Turned Provider, you speak on pain, right, as the catalyst for your purpose. So how did writing Survivor Turned Provider help you process and heal?
Man, I had talked about writing a book for like over 10 years because of my childhood. I knew that my story would be able to inspire others. And it wasn't until I got into grad school where I was really able to even talk about some of the stuff that I wrote in my book.
Right.
Like, for instance, my suicide attempt. Like, I never spoke publicly about that. And it had been 20 years that I was holding on to that.
Wow.
And I was in a class and a professor showed a film where it was so much abuse and it was so many layers in the family. And then one of the daughters killed herself. And I lost it. I had to run out of class. Like, I was a mess.
Right.
And she encouraged me to share my story. She told me, you know, like, that's the only way that you're going to be able to really is
to really get it out there,
is to share and talk about it. And then she said, how are you going to be of service to others if you're not even able to heal from some of the trauma you've experienced?
And that's real.
Yeah. So then is when I started to really talk about it. And then after finished grad school, I was like, if I could do this, because we have a capstone paper that we have to write.
Okay.
And I said, if I can do this, I can write this book.
Right.
I can write this book. And then someone told me about a group coaching program. And that's where the book was birthed.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. And just, oh my goodness, just speaking on that, right? And just being a Black woman, right? I always say we're very resilient. And a lot of the times as Black women, we don't get the space to be vulnerable, right? We don't get the space to not be strong, but we go through things like everyone else goes through, you know what I mean? And so I can only imagine with having to, even live through that, right? And I'm thankful, right, that you made it here, because without that, you wouldn't be here with me today, right? Yes. So I'm appreciative of that. But just like you said, having the courage to even speak on that, because I'm sure that was a dark time, I'm sure it was a lot going on. But like your professor said, if you yourself can't look that in the face and start the process of healing, how can you go out there and heal the world? Yeah. So I'm thankful that you had that professor. Yes. I'm thankful that she even gave you that tidbit to push you through. And then, now we have here, your story in black and white. So thank you so much. Yes. So you're an EMDR certified, right? Yes. And you work in behavioral health. First of all, tell us what the EMDR certification and all of that means and what that entails. But what also made you pursue pursue a career in mental health?
So EMDR is eye movement desensitization. It is a form of therapy that is used for people that have been traumatized, and it's intense. It's but it's like a quick. Well, some people say it's like a quick fix sometimes, but if the patient is receptive and willing to put in the work, it works. Okay. And I've used it for myself. Okay. So I know as a patient and as a provider that EMDR is something, it's different. And the city paid for a lot of the clinicians in our department to be certified. Okay. The program is intense. And so there was week-long 2 different sessions, and then we have to have consultation, like 5 consultation sessions after each training. And so it's pretty intense. It's very intense. It is really intense. And what led me to this field, I would say more so getting into the program and not having to take a test. So
okay. You said, well, keep it real.
I mean, I can't do nothing else. And it just, I really didn't know much about the field. I just knew that social work, it didn't require you to take the GRE. Okay. So a lot of grad programs, you have to take this test, it's a GRE test. And I don't really do good on tests. I don't like that. And
you got to know your strengths, right? You got to know your strengths.
So I was like, oh, it's a grad program. You don't have to take the GRE. And it sounds like it's something I've already been doing. So, you know, social work is so broad. And
it is.
You can do so much in the field. And so, like my stepmother was like, you've been a social worker all your life.
Right. Because you already probably been ministering and coaching and getting people through some stuff. So it just really was natural.
It just was natural. And when I got into it, I was like, okay. I didn't realize that I was going to become a therapist, providing therapy. Like, I didn't know what I was really getting into. But then once I got into the program and learned about it, I was like, okay,
right.
This is something that I can do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad. And like you said, you automatically probably been doing that your whole life.
Yeah. And
so especially the fact that you're able to write a book, you're able to do all of these things. You like to talk, you want to speak, and you yourself have that story, right, to actually be, you know, applicable to what the people are going through. So it's not like sometimes when someone's trying to tell you something they ain't really been through it, it's like, I hear you. You know, that's what the book says, right? The book says X, Y, and Z, but having what the book says along with actual life experience, can't nobody top that.
Yeah.
Because I've been there, I've done that, and I'm gonna help you through it too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So how has motherhood shaped your healing and your hustle?
Healing and hustle. I would say unconditional love. Like my boys, man.
And shout them out.
Yes, Denari and Danielle. And Danielle just graduated from high school.
Okay, all right.
On Friday. Yes, so that is so super exciting. Such a huge hurdle to climb over. He's been through a lot. Both my boys. And so, I would say unconditional love. Like my kids, no matter what, they ride or die.
Right.
Like for sure.
Okay.
And
especially being a boy mom, I'm sure they're very protective. Very protective.
Yes. Them boys, they don't play about their mom.
I bet.
At all.
I bet. Okay, well, shout out to the class of 2025. Congratulations to your son.
Class of 2025.
Congratulations to you, right? Because, you know, mom has to get them there, right? So just when the kids graduate, it's about them, but it's also about the journey of crossing over and, you know, your motherhood now, you know, transform it because you watch them from a baby, now growing into a young man and off to see, you know, him for the future. So that's very exciting. Well, thank you.
Yeah, and they inspire to hustle every day.
Right, because I'm sure they need, right? And
every day. Can I get
right, so you got to get up and get it for sure. Yes. Well, all right. Thank you so much for sharing. So we have reached the segment in our episode known as Rapid Fire Questions. So for this, quick responses. Don't think about it too long. It's a this or that. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Here we go. Therapy or journaling?
Therapy.
Okay. City life or the suburbs?
City life.
City life. You know, I'm liking the tranquility that comes with living in the suburbs.
I live in the suburbs.
Okay.
But man, if I had an option, I would be in the
taking the city life. I ain't mad. Okay. So speaking engagement or writing solo?
Oh, speaking engagement.
Okay. Nice. Self-care Sunday or turn up Saturday?
Self-care Sunday.
Period. Taking care of ourselves, getting yourself ready for the week that's to come, right? For sure. Okay. So real talk or tough love?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say a little bit of both.
Right.
But
combination.
I would say real talk.
Right. Keep it real.
Please.
Right. And like you said, really both. Right. Keep it real. But sometimes people do got to come at you in a certain way so you can really feel it. Right. So definitely combination.
You definitely need that tough love.
Right. Right.
I don't want it, but
For sure. Okay. Audiobooks or paperback?
Audiobooks for me.
I am a paperback girly. I don't want to hear no book. I want to read. I want to turn a page. I want to fold my corner, put my bookmark.
Audiobooks is newer. Yes. And I am a reader.
Okay.
And I grew up reading. So I understand it, but right now, like, I'm tired of reading.
Right. We enough reading day to day.
Real quick.
No, for real. I feel that. Okay, last one. Group healing or solo reflection?
Group healing.
Group healing. What group?
We need some community healing.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, because everybody is going through something.
You ain't lying.
And nobody really talks about
at all.
it. And we wear this mask, this face, like we put it on. We are so good at putting it on.
We are.
And we behind doors, closed doors, are going through it. And not just one or two. It is
everybody.
It's so many people just going through it.
Right.
Our community needs some love and some healing for real.
Okay. Yes. No, group healing. Okay, I like that. I love that response. But what you're saying is very true, right? So I think about it like this, right? You're either currently dealing with an issue, you just got through an issue, or you're heading to one.
Come on.
That's really all it is. You either just came out the storm, you're walking into the storm, you know what I mean? Or you're on your way to one.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, like you said, everybody is going through something. Yeah. And sometimes you do need to know that others are dealing with something the same or similar, right? Or even knowing that somebody has gone through the same or something similar and came out on the other side.
Yeah.
So
we all need to be a little bit gentle.
Right.
A little bit more gentle with others, because you just never know, and you'll never know what their breaking point is, right, and when they gonna just flip the script. So just like be kind,
be gentle, and even with yourself too, not just to others. We got to be a little kinder on ourselves, because sometimes we can be our worst critic, right? Sometimes you got to know you're doing good. You are where you're supposed to be. You're meant to be where you are. You can't worry about the past, and you can't worry about what's to come. You got to just keep moving.
Yes, be in the now.
Right. Okay. Well, that was our rapid fire question.
I
Thank you. Okay. So, you talk about being a survivor, but also being a provider. And you share with me that you recently just purchased your very own home, right? So congratulations to you on that.
Yes,
so with buying your first home and as well reaching 6 figures, right? That's a huge win. What mindset did you have to adopt to start attracting that version of success?
Discipline for sure. Especially during the home buying process.
Yes.
They tell you don't do a lot of spending, don't do a lot of shopping, and that was hard.
I bet.
And for months, like I would say at least 3 to 6 months.
Right.
The process from getting pre-approved to getting approved after you submit all your paperwork, and then you figure out how much you get approved for, and they don't want you spending money like that.
Right.
So I remember prior to, I was working with a financial coach, and she put me on to a lot of different things. And that was one of the things that she warned me about, and saving in a high yield savings.
Right.
Account.
Okay. Tell them.
Look it up.
Come on.
Yes. Okay. So like savings and discipline, and just learning how not to spend. A lot of times
so you like
we
to shop
as soon as we spend.
Right. That ain't right. That's real.
We in our head. I'm like
calculating
already before the check comes. So stopping all that.
Okay.
And learning how to become disciplined with my spending.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's major, right? So I'm a homeowner myself, and like you said, people don't know, but like that process is not typically a quick one, right?
No.
So like you said, even when you in the midst of it, you still can't make moves. So also with the discipline, patience.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's
because
good.
In combination with, okay, I got to be thorough, I got to do this, you got to wait.
Yeah.
Sometimes it don't go right? Sometimes you put an offer in and somebody else come in, they outbid you. The home that you thought was your dream home decides to be someone else's, right? So a lot of patience goes into that process as well, right? So
that process can be stressful.
It can, but you can do it.
Ooh, yes.
It can be done.
Definitely.
It can be done.
Yes.
Okay. So don't think just because it's a process, don't let that deter you. Home ownership is major. And like you said, they don't want us to really have that, right?
No.
That's something that, that's the cheat code.
Yeah.
Many a times. And they don't want that for us. So just being, a Black woman in general, if you can and you in the position to, please do. Yeah. And if not, get yourself prepared to do, because it ain't hard. It's just, like you said, discipline and taking that patience.
Yeah, and learning how to advocate for yourself.
For sure.
Not taking no for an answer sometimes. Like really pushing and advocating, because they'll try you.
They will. Okay, period. Okay. So, you are doing all of the things that you are doing, right? While serving your community, your job, right, with the city and county of San Francisco. So tell us a little bit more about what giving back to the city really means to you personally.
Man, it's like a dream come true. Like being able to, like, my home office is in the Baby Plaza.
Okay.
And if you know anything about the city, like, it's literally down the hill from the projects that I grew up in. And so it means the world. Like when I was at San Francisco General, and looking at reassignments and I saw the location, I was like it just felt ordained. Right. It just felt like this was my purpose. This is why I'm here, to be able to serve a community that did so much and poured into me, and I, like, struggle, all of it. Like, it means the world. It's just, it feel like I'm like living out my dreams, and sometimes it's fulfilling. I'm like, is this really happening?
Right. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah, like, it's surreal. It is definitely surreal.
No, that's major. And I myself also, like, do, work and give back to the community that I grew up in. And so, like you said, just knowing that we can come from here. Yes. And then become the women that we are today. Yeah. So then that it ain't, hope is not lost. Right. All is not lost. A lot of times people look at, the inner city, they look at, the Bay Area and our communities and think, oh, it's just all of this and all of that. But you really have some real smart, real talented, real gifted individuals that come from the soil, if we're being honest. Right. And we get it out the gutter. For sure. For real. Like from homeless to homeowner. Right. Okay. Okay. Clock that. Yeah. Like, and I want to continue to encourage the younger generation after me that you can do and be anything that you want to be. Anything. Hard work and determination. And it feels good when I'm able to look out and see, like, I got nieces and nephews in their 20s getting BA degrees and master's degrees. Like, yes, that's what it's about. To inspire the younger generation so that they can see and know that they can do anything that they put their mind to. That's real. And do it young. No, for sure. Get out there early. Get out there, get out the way. Right. Young, so you can establish your career and you be set. No, for sure. Yeah. And I think too, just with us both being, city and county employees, right? A lot of the times people's mind doesn't go to that being a career. Even when I was coming up, I didn't necessarily think like, oh, I would think about this. No, you think about what the services they offer and what they do. But a lot of the times the people don't think about, oh, this could be a career for me too. And it definitely can. And like you said, you can get in young. Yeah. You can come in through the door, build your way up. You look up, you 60 something years old, you didn't put 30, 40 years in, and you ready to go. So I also want to speak to that and encouraging the youth to say, go apply for them city jobs, apply for those county jobs, apply for those state and those, jobs, because they are real careers, and you don't think about that. So that's a big one, encouraging the youth. I like that. Thank you. Careers that come with real benefits. Real benefits. Ooh, and that's the main part, because when you see how much these benefits really cost, and you're gonna be taken care of, and you're gonna be good to go. Exactly. Them take that little bit out your check, pay for your little health care, because that's pennies on the dollar on what it really costs. Yeah. So for real, thank you for that. So, if someone out there right now who's listening is still in the survival stage, what would you tell them today about what's waiting for them on the other side? I would say that sky's the limit. Find your key supporters and see how they can mold you into getting to where you need to be. And with hard work and determination, like that is my go-to. If you're really determined to succeed, there's nothing or nobody that can stop you. Okay. Yeah. So, nobody's gonna go hard for you other than you, for real. You ain't lying. You gotta go hard for yourself. But find you some key supporters. Right. Yeah. And know that it is definitely something that is possible. It is possible, and with hard work, you can do and be whatever it is that you want to do and be. Right. No, that's real. Yeah. And like you said, having those supporters and having a mentor, right? Yeah. So having someone that you can look to who, has already done this or been down this road, and getting up under that person and, learning what you can learn to advance yourself, because we're never too old to learn. Right. That's one of my biggest themes in life. I'm never too old to learn something. I learn something new every single day. Yeah. And so, like you said, somewhere over the struggle, it's something glamorous on the other side, right? It's the life that you create for yourself. So you could paint the most beautiful picture with your life if you are the pen and the master behind it.
Yeah, there's a saying in the world of academia. It's becoming a lifelong learner. Yeah, so always being open to learning and growing.
For sure.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay. Well, with that being said, tell us what's next for Tisha Williams. What projects do you have coming up? What you're working on? Get the people something.
so right now I am studying for a licensure exam to become a licensed clinical social worker.
Okay.
Right now I'm an associate. And so once I become licensed, I'm able to do my own thing. So I can do private practice, nonprofit. I'm really undecided about what I want to do because there's so many things It's so many things I want to do. But I've always thought about doing a nonprofit and helping single mothers. Like that's my gem right there. So that could be a near future project, but I haven't really decided on what it is, what venture I'm going to go on. I want to write some more. I want to write some children books, and I want to write a sequel to this one. I have a title and everything.
Nice. Nice. Well, we can't wait to see it.
Yes. So, I got to put a lot of things to paper right now, but the main thing is getting a license.
No, for sure. But definitely, like you said, put that pen to that paper, because if you don't put it down, you ain't going to do it. You ain't going to, people don't know that. You got to write your goals and your dreams down, because if not, you ain't going to really go through it. So that's major. Well, tell the people about the book that you have. Let them know where they can find it. Let them know where they can find you. We're going to drop the link below, but go ahead and hold it up. Show the people.
So Survivor Turned Provider is self-published. It's on Amazon. You can find it there. And this is I like to call it my pandemic project. Because I wrote this book during the pandemic. We was quarantined. So
and you had to find you something to do.
Yes, so it is on Amazon. And the website that's on here is no longer in existence. I'm still revamping my website. So, I am open for speaking engagements, interviews, all of it. I need to get back out there.
For sure. Well, drop your social medias. Let them know where they can follow you.
Yes. So IG is Treniece T, TRENIECE T. And then Facebook, you can find me, Tisha Harvey. I'm on TikTok, Treniece T. That's my new fave right now.
I love me some TikTok. They already know that I'm a TikToker.
Yes, I am loving me some TikTok. So those are my social media handles. You can find me on all
social media handles. Period. All right, y'all. Tisha reminded us that healing is powerful, peace is the new flex, and success hits different when you fall for it. So if you're somewhere between surviving and thriving, keep going. Your soft life is on the other side. Thanks for tapping into the Lips and Lace podcast, where we honor the layers of womanhood, beauty, and becoming. I'm your host, Jamisha, better known as the Beauty Mogul Goddess, and this is Lips and Lace podcast.